G'day, welcome to Dave's Model Workshop. I've got a bit of an update on my science fiction scratch build, the Seahorse. So it's been a bit slow going lately, between my trip to Japan and just a bit of lack of inertia since I got home. But yeah, it's time to get back on the horse, back modelling. So I've got these two pieces that I thought this would be an easy thing to get my mojo inspired again. So these are the two scratch built bits that I've made previously. You would have seen it in previous updates. Check my channel if you want to check out those. And I just thought, look, time to paint these babies because that'll be an easy win and it'll be something that I find really satisfying. Because there's so many different types of plastics on these, so you've got various types of plastic. You've got sort of slightly more greasy plastics, really nice styrene plastics, kit plastics on the engine here. We've got all kinds of different things. We've got wires, we've got metals, we've got stuff that's all really funky. We've got these really weird things here that are kind of, these little tubes are very, nothing particularly wants to stick to them, they're not great. So I thought, needs a really serious coat of primer for these. Normally I'm not a huge, I'm not religious about putting primer onto my paint, onto my work before I start painting. But in this case, because there's so many different types of stuff, yeah, for sure. Primer I'm using, it's like cheap as chips, it's enamel, and it's grey primer. It's nothing special. I got this from the local hardware store. It's like $2, $3 a can. It really is nothing special, but it's a really serious primer in that it works, well. It's not a really precious primer, it's just hardcore, full on. As long as the coat's not too thick, I'm going to be okay. So I'm going to spray these guys and then start painting them. I could show you, but you know what it's like to paint with a spray can. And I need one hand free. There's my cat. Alright, time to spray. So grey primer's on, and I'm going to paint them black now because I want a metallic finish overall. Yeah, it's all good. You can hear my neighbours practicing their Blues Brothers tribute band in the background if you're lucky. No, they've stopped. So yeah. Time to airbrush this plain old black, just plain old black enamel. There they go. And this is where I'm at with the hull at the moment. So I'm pretty much finished the external hull. It's not crazy different to the last time you would have seen it. A few more bits and bobs added here and there. The main thing I have done is I've added this ladder, this external crew ladder that brings you up to the deck area here. And I started off bending wire with tweezers, and it was an absolute nightmare, and I was thinking, how the hell am I going to make this the same each time? So here's my wire that I started bending, and it was just dodgy trying to trim the ends. So how do you get this arm the same length as that arm? I was going to build a jig, and then I thought, hang on a second, that's about the size of a staple. So went downstairs, grabbed the staples, and happy days. These guys are about the same as what I wanted to build, so I just used staples. No dramas, every single one is exactly the same depth and exactly the same width. Easy peasy. I just drilled some holes. The only hard part was drilling the holes, trying to get those even. There's one or two you'll be able to notice that are a little bit wonko, but overall I'm pretty happy with that. That was my last major issue with the external hull elements. The trick now is trying to work out how to put a floor in here, a deck, for me to build the superstructure upon. And it's turning into an absolute bastard, to be honest with you. Excuse me. So I thought, oh well, I'll measure the distance, I'll take another bottle. I had a second bottle that was exactly the same as the first one, and that was my sort of donor for pieces of external hull, so these bits here, etc. And I thought, well, I'll just measure that, so I'll get it to the right area, measure it on a piece of paper, drew the paper, cut some styrene to fit, and it just doesn't work. Unfortunately, my calculations are just too wonko. Let's get some focus on the right camera angle. So yeah, the trick is also to fit these, because I've had to cut them into two just so that I can actually get them through, because the top here is obviously narrower than where they're going, so the circle is larger than the top. But yeah, there's just, when I put them in, you'll be able to see there's just a big gap. I'm happy with the join, that's fine, but there's big gaps down here where the hull joins. It's just not ideal. So I'm about to try and use a tape measure, a flexible tape measure, and measure the internal diameter, and then hopefully work out the radius, and then just cut a circle and then cut it in half. Fingers crossed that'll be a bit better. So, I don't know, you can watch me do this. It's not the most interesting piece of video in the world. Oh, it's a bastard. But, yeah, okay, too hard to film and do that at the same time. But you get the idea. Tape measure inside, work out the circumference, then I can work out the radius of the circle of styrene I need to cut. Okay, so I got my circumference, I worked out the radius, and then I used this bad boy, a circle cutter. Man, these things are the best. This cost me about 25 bucks, I think it was, from a hobby shop here from Spotlight, which is kind of sewing and crafting and stuff like that, and it's great. I think it's, you know, usually sort of used for scrapbooking and things, but yeah, this thing, lifesaver. So, got a bit of styrene, plunked it in the middle, cut around and around with the blade, and the upshot is, I have a circular deck that fits. It's not too bodgy. There's a little bit of a gap, but I reckon I can hide that where I need to. And the most important thing is, it sits flat. So for once the transparency of this is actually working out to my favour, because I can see that it sits nice and horizontal. So that's a bit of a win. Happy about that. Next up, I want to have anti-skid plating on that deck. So I bought some thin brass, it's not really photo etch, but you know, I guess it is photo etch. Thin brass diamond pattern anti-skid, 1/35 scale. I think this cost about 10 bucks. And I'm going to try and use this on it. Try and cut one semicircle there, one semicircle here, but I don't know how well it's going to cut through this. We will see. Okay, as much as I love my circle cutter, it can't quite cut through the brass sheeting. Probably blunted it a fair bit in the process, so I'm just going to cut through it with scissors. The good thing is that it gives you quite a good template to cut with. Just make sure your scissors are nice and sharp. You get the idea. Cool, I'm pretty happy with that. Anti-skid decking on top. I need to flatten out one, it's curving a little bit, but otherwise I am pretty happy. That's better than my last effort. Much better. Okay. And this is where I'm at after a little bit of scratch building the cabin from Styrene. So we've got a door with a porthole, we've got the front, which will be sort of more towards the center of the, more towards the middle of the deck, and that will be there with that piece from a French tank in the front. Around the back here, got two windows which will look out over the railing. I'm going to try my luck, see if I can pick it up without destroying it and put it on the deck and show you. I think I'm probably going to destroy it, but we'll see. Yeah, I think I have. And that gives you an idea, roughly, of how it's going to sit. And there's going to be stairs and like a ladder to climb up there. So yeah, that gives you the idea roughly of how it's going to look. Not quite so ramshackle. When I was cutting these out, so each of the pieces I wanted to have, let's get some focus, I wanted to have this curved corner effect on each of the windows, and to drill them, to cut them, I drilled with a fine drill, sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 little holes, 1, 2, 3, 4 little holes, and then just cut each of the 4. Look, it worked, but it doesn't bear close inspection. You know, some of the pieces like here, even after filing with a circular file, or here, it's not looking the greatest. Can you see how blunt my scalpel point is? That's bad. That could explain it. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do now is cut some very fine pieces of styrene and just make a window surround to go around each of these windows, and that way I can hide a little bit of that bodginess, and also it will give me something to attach the clear styrene to make the actual windows. So yeah, look, I'm excited to be actually building the superstructure finally. I've spent such a long time on the hull, the freaking hull. It's good to have moved on to a bit more of the upstairsy stuff. I still haven't painted any more of the engines apart from a base coat of black. But you know what? The good thing about that was it gave me the impetus to keep on going, because after my big holiday and stuff, I hadn't touched this in 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and just doing that and getting a little easy victory was enough to get the juices flowing again. So, yeah, I don't know if that's any help to you, but it certainly helped me get a bit more inspired, was doing something with an easy win. So, I'll leave it there. That's my update, part 4, and keep building this lot here, and I'll get back to you when I've got more to show. Cheers guys, hope you're all doing well. See you next time on Dave's Model Workshop. Bye.